Tibetan wolf. The Tibetan wolf, Canis lupus filchneri, is a subspecies of the gray wolf that is native to China in the regions of Gansu, Qinghai, and the Tibetan Autonomous Region. It is distinguished by its genetic markers, with whole genome sequencing indicating that it is the most genetically divergent wolf population, and mitochondrial DNA sequencing indicating that it is genetically the same wolf as the Himalayan wolf, is genetically basal to the Holarctic gray wolf, and has an association with the African golden wolf, Canis anthus. Taxonomy. In 1847, the British naturalist Brian Houghton Hodgson classified a female wolf from Tibet as Canis lupus niger. In 1907, the German zoologist Paul Michi classified a wolf skin from Xining in the Qinghai province of China as Canis lupus filchneri. Wilhelm Filchner was a German explorer who led an expedition from China to Tibet in 1903 to 1905, and the wolf was named by Michi in his honor. In 1938, the American zoologist Glover Morrill Allen classified Canis lupus filchneri and Canis lupus niger as taxonomic synonyms for Canis lupus schenko, Mongolian wolf. In the third edition of Mammal Species of the World published in 2005, the American mammalogist W. Christopher Wozencraft listed under the wolf Canis lupus the subspecies Canis lupus filchneri, under which he included as a taxonomic synonym the taxon niger Hodgson 1847. The NCBI/GenBank lists Canis lupus niger as the Tibetan wolf, and separately Canis lupus schenko as the Mongolian wolf. Additionally, there are recent academic works that still refer to the Tibetan wolf as C.L. niger. Lineage. Studies using mitochondrial DNA, MEDANA, indicate the Tibetan wolf to be genetically basal to the Holarctic gray wolf. Its Mount ND4L gene commences with the base pairs GTG, whereas all other canids commence with ATG. A whole genome study found it to be the most genetically divergent wolf population. In 2016, a whole genome study found that the Tibet population had shown decline over the past 25,000 years, however the Qinghai population had shown growth. The wolf's lineage had suffered a historical population bottleneck, having only recently recolonized the Tibetan plateau. Glaciation during the last glacial maximum may have caused its habitat loss, genetic isolation then local adaptation, and there was evidence of ancient inbreeding. The study proposes that these are the reasons that the wolves from Tibet were the most genetically distinct. The Qinghai population showed gene flow from Chinese indigenous dogs of 16%. Gene flow from the Tibetan wolf forms 2% of the dingo's genome, which likely represents ancient admixture in eastern Eurasia. Studies based on MEDANA, and on both MEDANA and DNA taken from the cell nucleus, indicate that the Himalayan wolf is genetically the same wolf as the Tibetan wolf. This wolf contrasts with the wolves found in the lower altitudes of Inner Mongolia, Mongolia, and the Xinjiang province of China, Mongolian wolf. A further analysis based on single nucleotide polymorphisms indicates that this wolf possesses a genetic adaptation to help it cope with living in low-oxygen high-altitude habitats. This adaptation could not be found in the Holarctic gray wolf. Some specimens found from as far away as China and Mongolia also fell within a Himalayan/Tibetan wolf clade, indicating a common maternal ancestor and a wider genetic distribution of this wolf. There was evidence of hybridization with the gray wolf at Sasyot-Hertesh in the Ursakul region of Kyrgyzstan, and of introgression from either the gray wolf or the dog into the Himalayan wolf in Nepal. Admixture with the Tibetan Mastiff. The Tibetan Mastiff was able to adapt to the extreme highland conditions of the Tibetan Plateau very quickly compared to other mammals such as the yak, Tibetan antelope, snow leopard, and the wild boar. The Tibetan Mastiff's ability to avoid hypoxia in high altitudes, due to its higher hemoglobin levels compared to low-altitude dogs, was due to prehistoric interbreeding with the Tibetan wolf. Physical description. Hodgson described his type specimen as follows. The British naturalist Richard Lydekker wrote in 1900. The British zoologist Thomas C. Jordan wrote in 1874 that the Tibetan wolf is larger than the Indian wolf and known as Shankoti among the people who live near the Niti Pass on the Tibet/Indian border, Kumaon district, India. Black wolves in Tibet are known locally as Chanko Nagpo, and these are considered bolder and more aggressive than the pale-colored variety. The British naturalist William Thomas Blandford, writing in his The Fauna of British India, including Ceylon and Burma in 1888, described the variety of wolf found in Ladakh in the Indian Himalayas and in Tibet as very pale-colored, with woolly fur, and has generally been distinguished as Canis niger. There are no striking morphological differences between the wolves from the Indian Trans-Himalayas and those from Tibet. Distribution and habitat. The Tibetan wolf is native to China in the regions of Gansu, Qinghai, and the Tibetan Autonomous Region. Between 2005 and 2008, sightings and scat of Tibetan wolves were recorded in the alpine meadows above the tree line northeast of the Namda Devi National Park in Uttarakhand, India. In 2013, the media reported that a Tibetan wolf was photographed by a camera trap installed around 3,500 meters, 11,500 feet, altitude near the Sundarbhanga Glacier in Bageshwar district, Uttarakhand, India. Tibetan wolves, which generally occupy territories up to 3,000 above sea level, have evolved hearts that withstand the low oxygen levels. Specifically, these wolves have a strong selection for RIRE2, a gene that initiates cardiac excitation. Relationship with humans. Historical sources indicate that wolves occasionally killed children in Ladakh and Lahore. Within the proposed Qinghai Wildlife Sanctuary in Ladakh, the intensity of livestock depredation was assessed in 3 villages. The assessment found that Tibetan wolves were the most important predators, accounting for 60% of the total livestock losses, followed by the snow leopard and Eurasian lynx. The most frequent prey were domestic goats, 32%, followed by sheep, 30%, yaks, 15%, and horses, 13%. The wolves killed horses significantly more, and goats less, than would be expected from their relative abundance. Conservation. China's wolf population largely lives in areas where little human influence change has occurred: the Qinghai Tibet Plateau, the Mongolia Plateau, and the Northeast Plain. In 2003, an estimated 12,500 wolves were living in China. In 2015, wolves were listed as a vulnerable species in the Red List of China's vertebrates, with all hunting being banned for this legally protected animal. Notes for this legally